And welcome everybody. As you notice, I didn't say welcome back, but welcome everybody. It is Nick, and welcome to the first episode or the first installment of Paradox in a Chat. As you may remember, or listened, or didn't listen, doesn't hurt my feelings. We mentioned this a little bit, hinted at it a little bit in the main episode that Chandler and I, episode 24. So go back and listen to that. But I'll get into a little bit more of what this is, but first I think I should really introduce my guest here. Andrew, take the floor, please.
Wow, I've never been called guest by you, Nick, so that's pretty special.
You're my honored guest.
But yeah, I'm glad I could. Oh wow, don't tell Chandler that. I'm just glad I could be here and meet up again and talk because it's been quite a while since we last spoke on Paradox in a Trap, and here we are
Mm-hmm.
with Paradox in a Chat. So pretty excited.
Yes. Yeah, no, it has been really exciting, and I'm glad that I could bring you on to be the first guest. When I thought about it, I was like, I gotta bring Andrew on. So, but just to give the lay of the land, I'm gonna talk a little bit about what PaaC or Paradox in a Chat is for the people, but also we'll get into Andrew and learn a little bit more about him going into the medical field and how he feels about that, how he deals with burnout in regards to schoolwork, and more and maybe just in a holistic view of what's been going on the last 6 months. So that's what we'll be diving into. But as I mentioned, the Paradox in a Chat is a installment of Paradox in a Trap podcast. It's in the same realm, if like we're MCU, even though we're not that big, but it's in the same realm a little bit. So PaaT, Paradox in a Trap, that will be happening
It's a good
every two.
analogy.
Thank you. Paradox in a Trap will be happening every 2 or 3 weeks, but this installment will be happening, or I will be trying my best to make sure that it comes out every week or every other week. So that is the goal behind that. And Paradox in a Chat is usually me and someone else. Maybe we'll bring on 2 people where we'll be chatting up, getting to know the person. I'm going to bring in a lot of unique people. Really excited about it, and hope you all are too. But enough about that. Andrew, how have you been? I know we've talked a lot recently, but how have you been?
I've been doing well since the last time I was on the podcast. Lots kind of happened. I've been pretty busy with classes. I'm now in the process of getting a job, which is pretty nice. I'm just been taking it easy. I All my classes are online this semester, so came back home for not only work but for a change of pace and kind of just living life as best as I can before things get crazy with med school applications, as I'm sure we'll get into later.
Right.
So that's basically been me. Been doing well, just trying not to lose my mind with all the work that's been coming up recently.
Right. No,
I think a lot of people can relate to that right now. It's the last home stretch of the semester. People are trying to get stuff done. At least people in school are. So,
of course.
you know,
Yeah, no, you're totally right in that there's just a lot of moving parts going on right now. So going back to, as you're saying, the last 6 months, or it's been a long time since you've been on PaaT. That was what was that, episode 22, New Challenger Approaches. That was a fun one. But do you want to talk a little bit about what what did the fall semester look like? And I remember Austin had a really big snowstorm, and just the entire South had a really big snowstorm. But you want to talk about some of those events?
yeah. So in the fall semester, I didn't have all my classes online. I had two classes in person, which was kind of nice. I didn't get hit by the whole Zoom university stuff as much as other
Yes.
people. Had a little bit of a semblance of a real semester, so that was nice. But other than that, it was just really a decent amount of work. But in the process, I got to reconnect with some people that I had lost touch with because the previous semester was when COVID happened, and then everyone left in March. And then so from March all the way to August, didn't really see anybody back from college. So it was kind of nice being back, really getting to spend some time together with that core group of people that I hang out with, and other than that, I mean, fall semester was pretty uneventful. Otherwise, just work, more of the same, hanging out. I will say though, in the spring, like you said, we had that massive
Mm-hmm.
snowstorm, and it's like every year with our grade, there's been something going on. At least at Texas, where we've had like um, freshman year, we had this big water crisis where one of the water treatment plants flooded because we had rain for like a week.
Right.
So everyone had to like drink out of bottled water for like a week and a half, and use that to brush their teeth and everything. And then of course, last year was with COVID happening, and now this year we have not only COVID but also the winter storm. So that was pretty interesting. Like every year there's something going on, but yeah, the storm was crazy. It was really crazy. Texas and a lot of the South definitely wasn't prepared for it, but especially Texas. I mean, there's so many reasons why things failed the way they did, and there's a lot to be said about the current state of national power, or at least Texas power. But thankfully, I wasn't affected too much. I mean, we lost our water, but we never lost power, thankfully. So we always had heat. I do know that a lot of people though who lost power and water, and that was really bad. That happened for about a week. I think the snow started falling around
Right.
Sunday, so like the start of the week, and like that Monday, classes were obviously canceled. Classes got canceled for the whole week, but that Monday, like people were so excited. People were going out and sledding and having snowball fights, and so that was really cool. I got slammed a couple times in the head with snowballs, so that was pretty fun. Can't say I've really been in a snowball fight before, so that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It shows you that I'm from Texas. But otherwise, like so Monday was really fun, no problems. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great." And then Tuesday is when things got bad because all the snow started to like harden
Right.
into ice,
It was. It was.
and cars started slipping, people
It
started
was no
slipping.
fun.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, and then pipes started bursting. Like it just all kind of went down that Tuesday, and Tuesday through Friday, pretty much it was like the winter hell. So but the only really inconvenient thing was having to get water from other sources and flush our toilets manually. And I had a friend who still had water for a while, so we all took showers at their place. But yeah, otherwise it was pretty crazy. No classes, but I definitely didn't get work done and take advantage of that time because it wasn't really a good time to do
Right.
that.
Right.
So.
No, it sounds like a lot of character development, right? Uh.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I bet you wouldn't know anything about the
Oh
winter
no,
storms in
not at all. Just
Wisconsin,
a little
right?
bit.
So
Just a small taste. That's all. But yeah, no.
yeah, yeah,
So I think it's funny that you mentioned that Monday was like awesome, and then Tuesday through Friday was hell. Because I remember listening to a lot of people and they're like, yeah, snow was tight Monday, but after that, snow was not tight.
yeah.
Snow was bad. So, I,
It's bad. And I was like, oh, this is why we don't go
right,
up north.
right, yeah. There's a reason why we stay below this line right here. Yes, yes. Um, but mentioning that a little bit more, and
Yes.
as you mentioned, it was a very big environmental response that you got to see on the Texas side and stuff like that, and systems. Do you want to touch on that a little bit more? Like, how did that make you feel about knowing that those systems failed, but also it's just such an extreme case. Do you have an opinion on that or anything?
Yeah. So I don't know too much about the power. Like I'm not a power
Right.
engineer. Like I'm not too read up on the subject. But from what I did read, and from who I did talk to, um, Texas is on its own independent power grid. It's pretty unique in
Mm-hmm.
that regard, where you have the eastern grid and you have the western grid that supply power to the eastern and western sections of the U.S. But then you have Texas that's all by itself. So that's both a good thing and a bad thing because if, say, you're on the eastern grids, say you live in, I don't know, Georgia, and you lose power in Georgia, well, that localized power loss, can be mitigated by power across the grid from
Right.
other places,
Right.
to my knowledge. So you can reduce the possibility of a total power grid failure because you're connected to the entire side of the country. Whereas with Texas, Texas doesn't have that connection. Texas is on its own grid, which means when there's surpluses, right? When there's power loss around country, and Texas doesn't have power loss. Well, that's good for Texas. Texas isn't bleeding power elsewhere. But when Texas is losing power, no one can really help them because there's no physicalized connection to the other grids. So all of Texas's problems are its own, but also all of its successes are its own. And I think a lot of that is also due to private companies coming in and taking the power, uh, or seizing control of the power and basically saying, hey, like privatize power. We will make money. You guys get options,
Right.
but we're not going to go out to the national grids. So, that's a problem. Second big problem is the fact that, none of our grids are winterized. But a lot of people would be like, well, why would you winterize a power grid in
Right.
Texas? It
Yeah.
doesn't make
Yeah.
much sense unless you live, maybe in Lubbock you'd want to, or like maybe if you're way up north, Panhandle maybe. But like most of the big cities in Texas are central to
Mm.
south, and you don't get this amount of snow you'd see anywhere, not even in like Arkansas or Oklahoma.
Right.
So there's no reason to winterize it. But I mean, when cases like this happen, when times like these happen, times like this one happen, you kind of think like, how much did this cost us? How much did this 1 week and a half of snow actually cost us? And would we have been better off just investing into a winterized
Right.
grid
Right.
beforehand? So that's something to think about. And then I guess the last thing is the grid that we do have is very, very outdated. I can't speak for the national grids, but Texas's power grid is, I think the last time it was really checked and updated and upgraded was around the
Mm.
1960s. So we're pretty far behind in terms of where we could be. And it really showed. I mean, people didn't have water for weeks and, or sorry, not water. People didn't have power for weeks and weeks after the snow ended because their grids in their areas still weren't fully restored yet.
Right.
And I think a lot of that is just because of the quality of the grids and how old they are, and the setup. It's no one really has invested a lot of time or energy, no pun intended, into really fixing it. So you know,
I was waiting for it.
there's
You
that.
lobbed it up perfectly. But yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
You got it.
yeah, but I really do appreciate you sharing your idea, or not your idea, your opinion on that and your outlook. Because I know that you know, it directly affected you, and it also affected a lot of close friends, family, and stuff like that. So I was always interested because I know from my
Right.
perspective and others is just outside looking in. So I don't know how it actually felt being in that situation, right? So
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people looking out from on Texas, are like, wow, what's going
what
on? I can't
dipshits?
even handle
Question
the
mark.
snow, and it's like, well, yeah, for a lot of reasons. Well, yeah, it was like, some people. At least I had some family members who were. I think I have a cousin who's like 6 or 7, and for them, you know, they really haven't seen actual snow.
Hmm.
So seeing this now is just mind blowing. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is snow. Like I've never seen this much
Right.
before.
Right.
So it was interesting, but then there's always two sides. It's a big reason why a lot of people. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but I know a lot of people move to the south from the north because of the
Right.
weather. Because apparently dealing with the snow for so many years and having to handle or mess with all the snow shoveling and ice
Yeah.
clearing, like all that stuff, just doesn't sit well with people after a
Yeah,
while.
no, you would think that they just would enjoy it and get used to it, but no, shoveling your sidewalk and scraping off the ice to make sure your cars can get out, just not a lot of fun. So you know gets really boring,
Yeah.
especially snow blowers and stuff like that. They're a work of art, but they're also loud as hell. So you know trading off benefits and negatives.
Well, I think that means you should come back to the
Oh,
south then.
ooh, lobbing me up, I see. Yeah, no. I mean, for grad school and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I am looking to leave Madison. I don't know what that looks like though, but Austin is on the mind. Somewhere
Austin? Question mark.
Austin? What? I know, just a little too late.
What?
I'll be a little late behind your time there, I'll be over past your time. But
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot of options that I'm still thinking of. There's also part of me has always wanted to go to Washington, so it's just that idea too, you know. But we'll see, I think I've had my fair share of the coldness and the snow here, but because God, my first semester here was the winter vortex stuff, you know, where it was -62
oh
outside
yeah.
with wind chill. And I had to rebuy clothes and everything, man. It was terrible.
Oh my
I
god.
remember we just stayed in and played war games. That was amazing, but oh my god.
I cannot even
Yeah.
imagine that.
So, but no, talking about futures and everything like that.
Dude, I can't even imagine that. That's
Yeah,
super
no,
cool.
it's freezing. But
Oh
no,
yeah,
no, you're
sorry,
good.
yeah.
So talking about futures and stuff, mine, you mentioned that a little bit, but yours, it's is coming up. I know that you've taken the MCATs and done the, done those kitty cats and finished those up. And now you're also doing a little bit of work at UAMS. So how is that all feeling? How are you feeling about that stuff?
Well, I'm definitely nervous. I it's something that's entirely new for me. It's just the whole application process to med school. You would think it'd be pretty similar to college, and aside from like your resume and a few essays and your grades, obviously, I mean, there's it. It might seem pretty similar, but just the vibe of it is so different. It's something that might dictate your entire life. No matter what you do,
Right,
if it's med school or law school or just grad school in general, it's just you're applying to something to a program that could have so many implications going forward. And in the case of doctors, if you make it through med school, there's still more schooling you need, unfortunately, or fortunately,
there,
if you're a patient.
there's always more.
It's not the end. So like, it's not like your life is going to be dictated by where you go to medical school. I don't think any physician would say that, but it certainly does impact where you get in for your post medical school training, like your residency training. So it's just something to think about. You want to give yourself the best opportunity you can, right? So that's why you kind of shoot to try and get into a good program. And it's the same thing with undergrad.
Hmm.
When you apply to college as a high schooler, you're like, well, okay, like college, I could go anywhere for college. But if you think about it, depending on where you go, depending on what your school is good at, that might impact what school you get into later after you graduate. Because
Right,
if you go into a school that's really, really good at the sciences, right, and you want to be like a chemist or you want to be a biologist, well, hey, maybe you'll have more experiences that then translate to a better application when you apply to grad school, for example. It's just
right,
things to think
right.
about. It's not like and be all end all, but it's definitely has an effect in my experience and my opinion. But just applying to med school, I'm a little uncertain. I don't really know where I would stand in an applicant class. I know some people who are also applying to med school as well, but I think we're all kind of in the same boat where we're just going by what people tell us. We're just reading stuff online. We're just kind of looking at the numbers like percentiles, but in reality, you don't really know where you go. And the sad thing is, you never know if you can get in
Right,
anywhere. Like
right,
there are no
right,
safe schools for medical school. There might be some really good options, but even your highest acceptance rate schools might say, hey, either one, we're full up already, you can't take anymore, or two, we just don't think you're a right fit for us, even though you're a great student. And that means something. I mean, medical schools are all pretty different from one another. They all have different strengths. They all have different focuses in their training. And if you can't identify what about that school makes you want to go there and makes you interested, well, then you might struggle in the application process because med schools are like, why do you want to be here?
right,
Why do you care about us compared
right.
to someone else? And it's like, well, okay, you guys are really involved with the clinical side of training. You guys have a lot of clinical experience, and I'll appreciate that. Okay, well, sure, that might be true for one school, but can you really say that for the next
Right.
school on your list? Like, you don't know. It's a lot to think about, and it's so much to consider that one, I haven't thought about considering yet, and two, I don't think I fully have considered any of it yet. So
Hmm.
it's going to be interesting. I'm nervous, but I'm also excited. It's a new chapter, new people, entirely new
Right.
experience. So there's a lot to be looking forward to, but at the same time, I'm a little reluctant because I just feel like undergraduate got cut so short. I mean, I know I still have a year and some weeks left, but it's just like between COVID and between just all the craziness that's happened in general over the past 3 years almost. It's just it's
Right.
gone by too quick, and
Oh
gonna
yeah,
miss
no,
it.
no, most
So
definitely. Well, thank you for sharing. I apologize if I'm, making you stress out maybe a little too much beforehand, but you know,
no, no, don't worry. I've thought about this plenty.
yeah.
Don't worry.
No, it's just casual dreams and nightmares that I have. It's no
Ah, that's
worries,
good.
no worries.
Just keeps me up at night. It's
Yeah,
okay.
no, it's fine. If I get my regular 4 hours of sleep. Why do you ask? But so
Oh yeah, no, I get shade for that from some people, so
no
don't
worries.
Don't call me an
No, no
insomniac.
worries. I know you work hard, but I also know you stay up late, and then you don't give yourself sleep, so don't worry. um,
Yeah, be
yeah,
like that sometimes.
it will. It does. It does. So as you mentioned, with med school and looking to see like what fits you, looking to see like is this what you want to do? Would you also say like the culture and kind of like the class at college makes? Do you think that's a very big determinant and kind of in the back of your mind a little bit, or would you say, or do you think that plays a big impact in their choosing, like making the class itself, or what are your thoughts on that?
So, are you talking about how my major is influencing my
Yeah,
decision to go to med school?
your major is how is that influencing a little bit? Like, what do you think it's influencing? And also, like when a
Okay.
program is looking to make a med school, unit, because I know the classes are not only maybe 7 to 10 at most, right? And so when they're making that special unit of
Right.
people, you know, do you think they take into account like, oh, these people would work well together? Do you think they take that into account or no? Those are my two questions. So take your time, whatever you think.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess the second question first. I think the classes are built around a diverse array of people. So you're going to get people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, especially at a place like Texas, where you have such a wide applicant pool, not only from the state but from the country.
Right,
You have so many different people, and just in my major, I only have about 170 or 60 ish people in my
mm,
major, and I'm in biomedical engineering, and so there's not too many of us, but all of us are from different places. Like one girl I know, she's from Florida, and she's like top tier student, and she's been studying abroad, and she wants to go to med school, so she's really cool. Another guy I know is from Austin, and he's been really involved with coding and computing. So that's the side of engineering he wants to be part of going forward. There's someone else I know who worked in a prosthetics factory as at this big internship over the past few summers, and so like they're trying to get into the whole um, prosthetic like machine body interface
right,
kind of world. So it's just like everyone's interested in different things, and it's really awesome to see that and to talk to them. And I do think that the admissions team takes that into account. They think about, oh, like how many people do we have who kind of share this interest? How many
right,
people do we
right,
have who
right,
kind of share this interest? I mean, it's definitely a. I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's definitely a pretty holistic process when they look at you. It's not just grades. If it was just grades, everyone would be like I don't know, like I wouldn't say everyone would be the same, but you wouldn't get as much of a variety
right,
of people. If you just go by numbers, you have to look beyond the numbers sometimes. And I think in the case of engineering, I can't speak for other majors, but for my major, it worked out really well. And I do think that my major kind of fosters a good appreciation for biology. I mean, it's
I
biomedical
would hope.
engineering, but it's yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really cool, but it's interesting because I think a lot of people come into the major already knowing what they want to do. Like when they're freshmen in college, they're like, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do this. And over time, some people might change their mind. Yeah, well, there you go. But some people might change their mind. But for the most part, I think most people kind of stick with that. And in many cases, people who want to go to med school, especially because those are the people I spend the most time talking to, just because we share
Right,
similar interests. A lot of those people say that their time in BME has reinforced their
right,
interest in med school. It's made them even more enthusiastic because there's so much left to discover, there's so much left to innovate, and there's so much that we still don't fully understand. There's a lot of things that we're still just now figuring out, like about how the brain works
right,
entirely, about the secrets behind the liver, about I mean, there's so many things. How you can replicate synovial fluid in your knee. Just there's so many different ideas that studying the body brings from all kinds of walks of life, from electronics, from computing, from molecular engineering and like chemistry, obviously, materials engineering, physics, right? I mean, there's so much, and so as a physician or as a aspiring physician, you think, wow, I mean, I certainly want to take care of people, and I certainly want to go and help other people feel better and improve their health. But at the same time, like this engineering background, all the skills and experiences that I've had kind of make me also want to do research, or kind of make me want to participate in some way where I can further our understandings of things. So I wouldn't say it's a very traditional route to medical school, but I will say it's a pretty interdisciplinary route, because it you don't just go to med school. A lot of people that I know who are in med school now who were BMEs definitely either go MD, PhD, or get a master's in addition, or just do research on
Hmm.
the side, clinical research, because there's so much that just reading about all these different procedures and techniques and learning about the body from this lens really makes you want to go in with that research mindset, that problem solving, investigative, curious mindset, and you're like, well, yeah, I can help people with what we know now, but look at how much further we could go. Like, I think that's a cool differentiating factor that that the BME curriculum has given me. And so as far as people coming in, right, there's about a one third distribution among people in BME by the time they graduate, where you have one third who go to med school, one third who go to industry, and one third who go to grad school. That's kind of like the normal end graduating class. But when people come in, it's kind of curious. The entering classes, it's like 50% med school, like 40% industry, and then 10% grad school.
Yes,
So it's,
sir.
I mean, I don't know the number specifically, but I know a lot of people are like med school favored, and that kind of changes as people get more exposure to different fields of BME and different whether it's research experiences or internships, whatever it is. But as a whole, a lot of people kind of stick with what they first came in wanting to do.
Gotcha.
So
And
long answer for a short
no,
question, but
no
yeah, thank you.
worries, no worries about the long answer. Um, so yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. With you, as you were saying, people get to evolve a little bit and understand what they want to do. Do you feel like the curriculum kind of holds your hand a little bit, or do you think it's a lot more of people self-exploring, not self-exploring, but exploring on their own and just kind of getting, into the thick of things? What do you think about that? Or do you think it's a lot more guidance from the curriculum?
Well, I think the curriculum gives you a great exposure to everything. So it's kind of a pro and con of UTBE, at least, where they give you this jack of all trades mindset, where basically you never spend more than one class talking about one thing, and then you jump to the next thing. It's partially because it's such an interdisciplinary field, and it's also because they want you to get to experience all the different facets of what it means to be a BME. It's not just you sitting in a lab culturing
Right.
cells. It's not
Right.
just you working on machines, or not just you working on a computer. It's all of those things together. So every semester, essentially, the core curriculum changes focus, and the classes tend to complement each other too. So like one semester you'll have a coding class, and then you'll have a lab that emphasizes robotics, and then you'll have a your normal physics class where you tie in the robotics and the coding knowledge like all together to make like a prosthetic arm. That's what
Right.
we did, at least. So there's stuff like that. The classes are meant to introduce you and give you exposure, but I think the real kicker after that is when you go out and you seek those opportunities to further whatever interests you, like that, and that could go for any major. But I really do think BME shines at UT because of the students, not necessarily because of the program. Program is great, don't get me wrong, but it's the students who go out and try and push that interest even further with like getting in a research lab that's solely focused on that, or like getting in the lab with a professor who taught them in a certain class that they really liked, for example, or getting a job at a company that specializes in whatever field they're interested in. And, like those experiences are the big takeaways, right? The hands-on technical experiences that people will get from participating in the fields that they're interested in. Like the classes are a great exposure, the classes are a great primer, but there's only so much you can learn in a semester, especially about the body and especially about all the concepts surrounding the body. It's a rabbit hole, really, and it becomes a rabbit hole really quickly. So rather than trying to understand all of it and remember everything that you learn, you really won't. You got to kind of focus and find your little niche and go all
Right.
in on that.
Right.
So that's what people try and do. It's been really difficult recently because of COVID, and just shutting everything down, especially on the medicine
Right.
side of things,
Hmm.
no doubt. But I think that's the end goal for what a BME should at UT should try and strive for, and it's not even specific to the major or the school. It's anywhere. You want to make sure that you can take advantage of the resources you have, because that's one of my biggest. This is a little tangent, but that's one of
Write
my
it,
biggest
baby.
regrets
Write it.
about kind of my first few years. Yeah, yeah. uh, just first few years at college, I really didn't capitalize on the resources that I had, and part of that was because I wasn't necessarily familiar or comfortable with
Hmm.
everything on campus yet. But a lot of that also was just because I was reluctant to even put myself out there. So if anyone's listening who's kind of still early on in their college curriculum, or even not, even if you're like a junior or a senior, or if you're in postgraduate schooling, even, just try and see what resources that you can take advantage of, because looking back, you're going to say like, wow, if I didn't do this one thing, if I didn't go to this one meeting, I wouldn't have any of this that I have today.
Right.
So it's just you'd be surprised what can happen, and kind of the whole butterfly effect of what you do will affect what you
Hmm.
do later. It's all cumulative. So don't count anything out. That's a big thing.
I don't know. I definitely agree. I mean, if I, for some reason, as you know me, and as some people do know me, I get these random spurs of not activity, I guess you would say, but just like I need to do this shit now. So usually it's like cleaning my room or something like that. But I got one of those spurs when I was when
Right.
I was not a kid. Sorry, when I was a freshman, basically a kid. When I was a freshman in my freshman year, I think it was, I think it was November, and I got an email from like the college engineering saying, "Hey, they're looking for internships here, here, here." I was like, "Man, I should look into that." And so I started emailing all the people that I think I would work with, like in a lab, you know, and that's how I met JP, and that's how I got that going, right? And so, you're totally right that it's just taking that initial
Right.
step, let alone just diving into it, but just taking that initial step to start looking is the biggest thing you can really do for yourself. So, but no, I do think that is very important. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think it's a very interesting thing to think about how both the curriculum, but also how the person themselves, kind of how that goes hand in hand to making a decision like med school or like grad school and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So maybe if you're comfortable talking about it, focusing on med school a little bit more, is there stuff that you're looking forward to? Is there stuff that that kind of scares you a little bit? Obviously, maybe the application process, but anything like that you're kind of dealing with right now that you want to mention?
Yeah, well, I'm just excited to finally see the inside of the inner workings of the body from outside
Right.
a textbook. Like gross anatomy class. Like, some of y'all might find this gross, but I think it's going to be really awesome. Just seeing everything that I've been reading about for so long. Finally, it's not like I can just cut myself open and look at
Right, right,
everything that
right.
I've got. Uh, but or I don't have X-ray vision either. But getting the opportunity to just see in person and actually look at and actually study and be able to um, truly get an idea of what all these diverse systems are is going to be really cool. And at the same time, I'm a little nervous, especially just in the future after med school, because you might want to be a doctor so bad, but if you're going to be a surgeon, for example, and you don't have the technical skills or like the steady hand or the capacity to like sit there for hours and do one thing, it doesn't matter how passionate you are about it. If you just lack that quality, you're not going to be
Right,
able to do your
right.
job. So I'm nervous that the goals that I see for myself and what I want to do as a doctor, if I don't have the capacity to do that, not because of my mindset, but because of like physical limitations, or just because of something that I
Hmm.
subconsciously that I can't control, like, I'm not going to go down the path that I want to. And maybe that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing if things change, right? That's part of life. But, it's kind of nerve wracking that to go in with a plan and to not have any idea if it's going to work out or not, and have so many places where the plan can get
Right,
changed or even
right.
fail is pretty concerning. But that's not med school specific. It's just
Yeah,
general
that's
life
just that's just
stuff
a game we
too.
called
But
life. But yeah.
yeah, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, I think it is really nerve wracking when you get into the idea of that you are so passionate and that you want to do this so bad, but there's that tiny little limitation that is there, right? it's like a thing that I'm learning a lot, and that my sister has told me a lot is that if I can't write a solid paper and I don't like writing, if I don't like writing papers for science, I'm in the wrong business, you know? Like I might as well get the hell out of Dodge and just do it.
Yeah, facts. I mean, grad school is gonna not be
Yeah,
too
you
happy.
know, and it's not that I don't like writing papers, it's just that I know I'm not adept at it or anything yet, so I just need to improve on it. But it's just like those little things that I'm learning too, especially it's like if you can't pick up bench skills really easy, if are you not comfortable handling animals or interacting with patients, stuff like that, right? It's those little tiny things that you think that everyone gets them, but there's still a lot of stuff to work on and keep in mind when you're doing the processes, right? So but yeah, no, I apologize. I'm not trying to make you too
Right.
nervous or anything like that, or for what the future is going to come or anything like that, because I'm always going to cheer you on and believe in you.
No,
So
I mean, look, yeah, I appreciate it, dude. I mean, there's one mindset is, what are you gonna do? Like, you don't have a nothing certain. Like, you want to be sure about what you're doing. Like, that's like a more of a worrying mindset. But then another side is just like, hey, like, it's gonna work out. If you want it bad enough, you're gonna get it, or you're gonna get close to it, and that's okay. I just, I think a lot of what I've been reconciling with recently is just telling myself that it's gonna be okay. Don't try and overthink it. Don't try and worry about stuff that you don't have any control over. At this point, there's not really a whole lot I can do to boost my application because application's opening in
right,
like a
right.
month. Number one, and number
Exciting
two,
times, exciting
there's not
times.
there's not there's not many. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's something to look forward to. But then number two is just that, like, even if I did involve myself in more than I've already done, it's not going to mean much if it's only going to last 3 or 4 weeks or like a month or two. It's you got to have some dedicated exposures, dedicated experiences. So long story short, there's not a whole lot I can do. A lot of what I can change is out of my hands now. So I just gotta trust in what I've already done and believe in myself. And if I get an interview, ace the interview, and that's it. There it is. I mean, not much more to it. Yeah, and then of course application, fill out the essay and
Right,
stuff
right.
like that. But
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think
that's
that's a
about
really
all I can
good
do.
and healthy outlook that you have. That you've worked hard and you've done all this work for the last. I mean, I don't know when you thought or when you wanted to go to med school, but I could imagine that it started to culminate and begin a little bit in high school, and so now you've done all this work through college, and so it's just like you've gotten to the end point where you've done as much as you can, right? And so now the ball is in their court. You played all. What's the max amount of time in basketball? Is it 48 minutes? Right? Is that right? Is it no, or is it 60? No, it's 40.
Uh,
It's 48 minutes.
no, it's
Yeah,
it's
it's like
like
12
48
minute
or so.
quarter.
Yeah.
But you've played all 47 minutes, and so it's just the last minute is up to them, right? And what they want to do. So, which is scary, but also, I mean, I think you set yourself really, really strong and set yourself up well to, get the result that you've been working towards. So, at least I think you have. It's very admiring. So,
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope med schools agree with you.
yeah, they better, or they'll get roasted
Oh yeah.
on Paradox and chat, you know. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
you,
Oh yeah. Good. Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll have a segment after I
yeah.
get my acceptances or rejections. We can
We'll
talk.
have
We can
we'll have
roast all the places
post
that.
med school blues, maybe a little bit from some places that you didn't get accepted or you got accepted to, and just be like, so now we're just gonna go through the list and just roast them, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no worries though.
Yeah. We'll go through the list and
Oh
have
yeah,
a
no,
beer or
kick back,
something and
feet up,
just discuss it.
everything like that, of course. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. But so you know, talking about kicking back a little bit and stuff like that, and trying to relax. Is there anything you do in particular? I know there's, like you said, there's been a lot of stuff going on, but is there anything you do in particular to relax and try to get your mind off of, maybe the stress of med school or classes and grades? Anything that stands out to you that is kind of a staple?
Yeah, well, so I really like listening to music, and I mean, of course, but I'm a big fan of instrumentals and like classical music. So a lot of times I'll just go in and put my headphones on and just kind of close my eyes and just listen to the music and kind of immerse myself in the music, and that always helps just take my mind off things if I'm stressed out. Another thing that doesn't necessarily relax me but takes my mind off of stress is
Uh,
playing chess. So that's a pretty fun pastime. Recently, people who know me pretty well will know that I've really been getting
yeah,
into
you've
chess
been
again
you've been
recently. I
climbing the
used to be
ranks.
a pretty big fan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been reading a little
Ah,
theory,
yes, yes, yes.
so
Pinky up, right? Pinky up, yes.
uh, yeah, right. Of course, the
Yeah,
elitist chess mindset. No, but actually, like I love chess. It's a one of the best games ever invented, in my opinion. And if you guys don't play, you should learn. It's a great game. Great. It was a great game to learn during quarantine, and pandemic's not over yet,
right,
so you can
right.
still pick it up. Good time. Make new friends and strengthen or dissolve old friendships, depending on how the games go. But you know, I can't speak from
Yeah,
any
yeah,
experience on that.
I can.
But yeah. Oh yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I remember.
I don't know
I
about that one,
remember,
Nick. But
man. For people that don't know or people that could not infer, so Andrew and I have played chess for a very long time, and I'll put it frankly, I kicked his ass a
oh
lot.
yes,
I was usually had a pretty good winning streak. He'd win sometimes, but other times he'll make dumb moves, and that's okay.
yeah,
That's his
destroyed
chess.
me.
But I don't know when. I think I do. Maybe like over December or like over the winter break. But this man just turned it up to another gear. And so he was just playing out of his mind. And he hasn't stopped since. I was like, oh my God. So just, he's being very humble, but yeah. He
Yeah, well,
uh he
hey,
he slaps
it's.
people and takes names, basically. So sorry, I just had to let them
I
know.
mean, hey, I blunder as much as the next guy. Uh huh.
Well,
Oh,
I
well,
think you
I
only have
respect
the
it.
one. I think you only have
I just love the
the
game. It's
one
really fun.
question
And
mark, not the double question mark on chess.com, right?
oh yeah,
What
not
are
the
you
what
doing?
blunder. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just get the
yeah, no,
mistakes. Yeah,
no blunders over here. But as you were saying,
those chess videos are. Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is a little segue, but just something that I really admire about chess. A few things. One is a fun fact. There's like more chess move combinations on a single normal chessboard than there are electrons in our galaxy, or something crazy
hmm
like that. It's incredible the fact that you think like a board that can fit on your table is more like the combinations of that board are on the scale of
right,
galaxies in complexity. It blows my mind. But another thing that's really awesome about chess is that it's not a game of concealment. It's not a game of hiding and like deceiving other people. Everything's right there in front of you. Like you can see everything that your opponent's going to do. You can predict it all if you wanted to or if you could. Nothing's being hidden from you. The entire game is in front of you. So it's just it's a true test of mental capacity and mental fortitude, because it's not necessarily about what do you see. I mean it is when you first start playing, like do you know what moves where and if this can be taken here. But then once you get past that early stage of learning, it's really just like a battle of the mind where you have to think, okay, this is what I want to do, but this is what they want to do. And then like how am I thinking ahead? Can I predict? Can I like big brain it, or I'm like outthinking them, thinking, trying to outthink me? you know because again, it's all there. Like you can see it all if you just thought about it and think, okay, well, if I go here, then he goes there, and then I go there. Just that's what the real charm is about the game. It's a true test. It's a true competition of the mind, and it's something that not a lot of other games can do. I mean, there might be some out there that I'm not thinking of, but chess is definitely a contender on the list of some of the best games ever,
right,
in my
right.
opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you put it very, very, very beautiful. That yes, there's a lot of intricate components that go into it, and yeah, your brain is thinking really hard when you're doing chess. Brain,
Right.
yes, brain. So there's a lot of different facets that come into it, and also the beauty of it, at least I think, is yes, everyone thinks it's kind of a daunting game to pick up. It's not Interstellar, if you know what I mean. But it is,
No,
I mean,
you
oh
mean
my god, I get it
Stellaris?
wrong every time. Stellaris, yeah, it's not Interstellar. Great movie. I
Oh my
know. I embarrass
gosh.
myself. I do it every time. I do it every time. Um, but about chess, I think a lot of people are daunted, or a little what would you say? Not overzealous. That's a weird. That's Yes, thank you.
Apprehensive about it.
Apprehensive. They'd be apprehensive about it, and it's a little, you know, how many? What? So you have pawn, bishop, queen, knight, rook, king, right? So you got 7 pieces, but they all do so many different things. They all interact with each other on so many different levels. So I could see how it can be very daunting. But anyone can play chess. Here it is, chess.com, free plug for them. Chess.com, where you can just learn the game. You could do
Yep.
tutorials and everything like that. Or, I bet you, I think,
You could
yes, you
challenge
could
us.
hit us up if you want. Nick Paradox and Drew Phil 77 on on chess.com. But the biggest
Yeah.
thing that I think is that you might not know it, but there's someone definitely in your life that knows chess, or at least has heard of chess and understands it a little bit, right? So there's always a great starting point there. So, you know, that's what I think. So, but no,
Yeah, I mean, I learned chess
right?
from my uncle who taught me when I was, like I forget, like really young, 7 or 6, maybe. It was the first time I ever like got exposed to chess, and it was just within my own family. So for sure, it's definitely pretty widespread. I think a lot of people think of chess as this niche culture, like this real small cult of people who just play games and flex on each other with how many moves they remember, how many games they remember. But it's a way bigger. Um, there's a way bigger sample size of chess players than people like to think. Of course there's the big names, especially recently. You have big names like Magnus Carlsen or Hikaru Nakamura or Eric Rosen. These big chess names, not only in the chess world but like on YouTube, like chess streamers. The Alexandra Botez.
Yes,
Just keep making it.
that's
Yeah,
all I'll say to that.
yeah.
Yes,
So
don't worry. If
yeah,
she hears this, she'll
but
figure it
yeah,
out, man.
it's just.
One day, one day.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sure she will.
I'll make
But
sure to tag her. I'll make sure to tag her.
it's a
So.
very great game. Oh, please do. Yeah,
Yes,
she's from
yes, I do.
Austin, so you could, or she lives in
Yes,
Austin,
yes.
so you could attack her.
Doing my best
Yeah,
for you. So, but yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, and especially with it blowing up on Twitch so much. With it's called Pawn Champs or Pog
yeah.
Champs, right? Or I always forget the name. Pog Champs, yeah.
Pog champs.
And
Yeah,
so
Pog
they have
champs.
so many streamers going on, or so many grandmasters streaming over there, and it's I think they have like at least 20,000 views or viewers a day at least. And so it's just getting more of a catching more of.
Yeah, and it's a pretty recent addition to Twitch. Chess has been around for so long, but it's only recently become big on
Yeah.
the streaming community, and that a lot of that was because of the
Hmm.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Ironically enough.
No, I mean, I think another big thing too was, at least I know that all the streamers I watched, a lot of them would play chess like during queue times, like waiting for a game, right? And so it's always been kind of like woven in, but it's never been,
Hmm.
the game to watch, right? But I think now that it's coming up more and more, instead of a pastime, it is now more and more with a, you know, this is a real game. It holds weight, right? So, but yeah, I think you learning from your uncle.
Right.
I learned from my granddad. So that is. I also learned Mancala. What any opinions on Mancala? If you know,
Oh yeah, I mean, I played it a few times. I wouldn't say I'm very good at it necessarily. I don't play it much to really have an opinion on the
right?
game, but it's cool.
Yeah, no. Supposedly, if you make one
Yeah.
certain move in the beginning, you always win. That's why I always lost as a kid. But it's fine.
Oh really?
Yeah,
There's a
Oh yeah,
meta.
there's a
There's a
meta.
cheese.
There's a meta. You wouldn't think that there's a meta with beads and little cups, but no, there's a meta. So there's always a meta. So
Hey, I mean,
yeah,
makes sense, I
but
guess.
we're getting close to an end, maybe about 9 more minutes or something like that. But anything else you want to add about what you do to maybe distract yourself a little bit and trying to feel less overwhelmed for all the stuff? I know you said chess. I know you said also listening to classical music and diving into that. Anything else
Yeah,
that comes to mind?
music. Hmm. Yeah, so I like to play
Right.
tennis every now and then. It's a good way of relieving stress. You can physically take out your
Yeah.
emotions on the
Yeah.
tennis ball, and the tennis ball doesn't talk back or argue with
Right.
you, so that's kind of cool. But aside from that, I also like to run. I'm gonna be honest with myself and everyone listening. I really have not been running much recently, and I need to get back into that because I remember when I did run regularly, and I mean like daily in high school. I felt one of the best feelings that I've ever felt. Just like even though I was tired, I had focus and like I was like in the Zen mode. I'd wake up in the morning and pop off with like a 6 mile run and then go to class, and it was just like, ooh, you get that sense of accomplishment. And there's a lot to be said about just prolonged exercise like that has a pretty pronounced and profound effect on your mind and just the way you can think and think through things. And it's just it's so good for you. It's not just a physical thing. Exercise in general, it's as much a mental thing as it is a physical thing. And if no matter what you end up doing to exercise, if that's just like push-ups or sit-ups, or if that's like a jog, or if that's even walking in the park, whatever you're doing, as long as you're out getting some activity, especially nowadays when everyone's inside all the
Right.
time on their
Right.
computers, it's a necessity. It's something that people don't think about, but it's a hidden necessity. Is actual regular exercise. So that's something that I need to get back into more because it was really so beneficial for me when I was super dedicated to it. And now I struggle to find motivation and time. But there's another rationale or another train of thought is if you really want to do something,
Of
you'll make
course.
time for it. So like I really just got to put myself in the mindset where I really need to do this. I really got to get up in the morning, don't stay up late, wake up early, get the exercise going, come back,
I
knock out
mean,
class, and
you can
rinse
always
and
stay up
repeat.
late and still go do it, you
So
know. Just saying. I do it all the time, man.
yeah, no,
I
but
work out with
yeah, well, I can't do what you do. You're
yeah, I
crazy.
mean I mean working out for 2.5 hours every day for 6 days is, people would think, wow,
Yeah, no.
where does he have time to, do work and stuff like that? But oh, I make time for it. But yeah, no, you're
Yeah, that's the key
you
right
know, you're
there. Yeah, Nick, you're ripped, so
no,
it's
no, 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 stop it. But
there's
yeah, no, definitely agree. If you really care about something, you're gonna make time for it. And as you know, I've always been a big proponent of fitness. I always have, whether it be a walk, whether it be yoga, whether it just be stretching and moving your body, or whether it be strenuous lifting or anything like that. Right? I am a big proponent of just going out and doing it because it has so many benefits, both health and mental wise. But don't worry, when fun fact for people that
yeah,
don't know, that
facts.
I will be heading back to Little Rock in May. So don't worry, we if you want to run then, because I will need to run because I need to practice for Murph. But we can do some mile runs if you want. So
Hey, we can run. Just don't don't
yeah,
hurt yourself. I'll try
well,
not to hurt
no,
myself.
it will be, this guy hasn't run in like, decent, maybe like 2-3 months, right, or something like that. I don't know when's the last time you ran, but
Yeah, it's
I've
been a
been
little
running
bit. Yeah.
regularly, but I don't do the distance as you. So, a mile run is where I'll cap out because then I will, I'll piece after the mile, it just go like that the entire time. Where I'll be back here, you'll be up here. So, and
Yeah.
for audio listeners,
Hey man,
yeah,
don't speak too soon, okay? Like
yeah. And for audio listeners, I will be in the way back, is what I mean. I'll be looking at Andrew's back the entire time. So, and just be wheezing as I do.
well,
So,
I'll have to train a little so I'm not in the way back. I'll say that.
yeah, yeah. I always keep forgetting about audio listeners. I feel bad. I'm getting so used to the face cam and making sure to keep my eyes open because God knows that's terrible. Um, open your eyes. Oh God, brings
Open
back
your
so many
eyes, man.
memories. But yeah, I apologize, audio listeners. This episode, I don't think we used too many hand signals or look at this. So I hope that, you guys are still enjoying it. But, getting close to time. Yeah. Oh, Kid Cudi.
Now look at this.
Now we're getting close to wrapping up a little bit. Andrew, any final thoughts you want to share with the people? Any questions you have for me? Anything like that?
Well, I guess I'm just again really glad to get to be here and talk. Honestly, there's a lot to be said about um, talking through things. Funnily enough, you know, us engineers don't get to talk very much, so it's nice to have a full-on conversation and get a little catharsis going. So
Mm. Mm.
interpret that as you will. But I will say, also as far as questions go, Nick, when are you gonna have me back on? Because
Oh God.
again, this has been really fun, and
Oh yeah, of course, of
we have a
course.
lot more to talk about. So
Indeed, we always have.
you
There's
don't have to give me an
always
answer, but just
no, no, no.
yeah.
I can give you an answer. When I first was thinking of PaaC and Paradox in the chat, and moving forward, and who I want to try to bring on, I have a list of about 17, 18 people but I still need to ask them.
Woo.
So that's the biggest thing I got to ask them. So our next guest I already got scheduled, and the guest after that I have scheduled, so that's great. But we might want to try to do an in-person one. We could do that if you really want to. When I come down there, that we could work
Yeah, when
something
you're
out
here.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of stuff that we can work with. So keep your phone by you. My agent will be in contact with yours. And well,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah. I know you're just so busy. I just have to message 3 people to get to you, right? So it's like firewalls.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I gotta pencil you in.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're just a very popular man, but I'll keep you updated. And also, I think that the next time you'll be on, you'll be with someone else, and we'll be talking about pretty very popular movie franchise. If you're picking up my drift, but
Oh,
yeah,
Star Trek, right?
yeah, yes, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
yes, of course.
Well, hey, looking forward to it, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward
It's gonna be fun.
to it too. Well, Andrew, I really do appreciate your time and taking your time out of your very busy schedule to devote some time to talk about how you're feeling and everything like that and your experiences. And I think
Yeah, dude.
people are able to learn really, really a lot from it. So final takeaway, Andrew, if someone walked up to you and was like, "Hey, like I am, getting close to the end, but it is a struggle, man. Burnout and everything like that. What's maybe one thing that you would tell them just to help them out and get to that final point?"
I think I would tell them, don't get lost in the moment. Don't get caught up in what you're experiencing now, because there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. It may not be the light that you're hoping for, but this will pass. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's a class, if it's a struggle in a relationship, if it's a job rejection, the key is that you don't let it bring you down. You pick yourself back up and you prove to yourself that you're not going to get stopped by a lot of work one week or a lot of struggles. The key is that you're resilient and that you're strong and that you tell yourself, I want this end goal, whatever it may be, and I'm not gonna let anything get in the way of that. So, persistence is key. Persistence and determination really define a truly successful outcome for life, in my opinion. So I think if you can do that, and you just make sure that you don't tell yourself that it's over before it
Right.
actually is,
Of
because
course.
it almost never is over
Hmm.
in that regard.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think that is really well said. Thanks. Thank you for uh, bringing that note to the end. Just and then one final thing, for PaaC and stuff like that, I want to have some interesting questions at the very end. Just one, just maybe a fun like little to reminiscent of the deep question dive that Chan and I would do a little bit on PaaT, Paradox in a Trap. So not really that too deep
right.
of a question, Andrew, but excuse me. Here's my question: if there was a certain year that you could go back and relive, but you couldn't change anything in the year itself, you just relive the whole year itself, what year would that be and why? You can take your time.
I think it'd be 2018. Honestly,
Interesting.
2018 was a great year, and a lot of things
Was a
changed that
poppin'
year.
year.
But it was a popping year. A lot happened. I mean, we graduated high school, right? And that last stretch of senior year was pretty litty, not gonna lie. Um,
And then we
then
also backpacked across Europe.
yeah, we went across Europe, so that was awesome, and got to got to meet some make some new friends out of our classmates, and after that, it was just starting college, which was crazy. It was all just such a new experience. So many new people, making so many new friends, and still staying in contact with old friends. It was just a great mix. It was a great bridge between those two realms of my life, at least. So
Hmm.
I'd want to go back and relive it. It was a great year, and I had a lot of fun memories. I mean, this past fall, I was getting all the snap memories from, like, 2 years ago,
Yes, yes.
and just like all the times, all the cool stuff that happened, and then, like, going through my photos, seeing all the Europe stuff, and of course graduation. How could I forget? Just all of it
Right,
was
right.
awesome. So great year, great time. I definitely want to go back and relive it all, even the bad. You got to take it all in stride. It was a great year overall, so
Hmm.
can't complain.
No, I definitely agree. I think that's a great answer. I think it's also very poetic of having a very big end, but also a very big beginning, and just seeing that transition through. So I do
Yeah.
think that is a pretty solid answer. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry. And, sorry to put you on the spot a little bit there, but, we like to think provocatively, think big brain here. So, um, you
No,
know,
that's a good question. I like that one. You should ask
thank,
that to other people too.
Yeah, no, I think I'll keep it in my arsenal. I'll keep it in the closet whenever I need to pull it out or anything like that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um. Well, thank you, Andrew. I really do appreciate you spending the time and talking with me and catching up. Even though we talk probably a little, we talk a decent amount here and there. But again, I'm very honored
Yeah.
to
Well,
bring
hey,
you.
I'm glad I could, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, no, I'm very honored I could bring you on. You know, if people want to connect with you or anything like that, I know you got an Instagram and stuff like that. I'll put that in the description, and talk to you more if they, some people are maybe struggling with med school or classes. I think you would be a great outlet for that, but also just good conversation in general. Um, but yeah, um, Andrew, any final remarks? Anything?
I think that's all I had to say, dude. I mean,
Oh,
thanks again for having me
okay.
on. This was so good. Such a great time. I love doing this. I wouldn't have ever gotten into podcasts if it wasn't for you. So big, big respect, big appreciation, and
Oh, I
I can't wait
appreciate
for
it.
the next time.
And I look forward to
Yeah.
the next time too already. But yeah, no, that will be that will do it for the first installment, first episode of Paradox in the Chat. Thank you, Andrew, for your time and everything like that. Everybody, this will be coming out. If you're listening to this, it came out on a Wednesday, hopefully at noon, because that's what I have in mind. And that's usually when they will all come out. At least that is the hope. So keep a lookout for that. It'll be under the
Let's
same realm as
go.
Paradox in a Trap. So just keep a lookout for that. But thank you all for your time. Take care of yourself and peace and love, everybody.